When he was born, he did not latch. He was not able to latch to nurse immediately in the hospital. I had seen the lactation consultant 3 separate times while we were in the hospital, and she was not able to help get us a strong latch as well. We worked up until we were discharged from the hospital trying to get him to latch. She gave us some exercises to try, and it was just excruciating pain whenever he would nurse. You know, we tried to use a nipple shield, we tried everything, and it just was too painful. By the time I got home from the hospital, I had pretty much given up nursing completely, which was devastating because I had had a successful relationship with my daughter, and I was able to nurse her for a year. But the pain was just too much. I was bleeding after 3 days, and he wasn't able to extend his tongue beyond his gum, and he was basically just biting down, and it was very painful. So I began to exclusively pump, and we began to bottle feed him. But even with the bottles, we were having an issue. He was gulping air. He immediately was showing symptoms of reflux, which was diagnosed within his first week of life. So we had to begin medication for reflux. And then shortly thereafter, he began displaying symptoms of colic. It very quickly began that he started crying all day. I would tell my friends if his eyes were open, he was crying. The reflux got worse. He was up all night, was not sleeping well, and just that's essentially what was going on. Definitely very frustrating. You don't know what's wrong. You go to the doctor and they can't help you. They don't know what the problem is, and you know there's something wrong. You're bottle feeding your baby and he's choking and he's swallowing air and he's in pain. And it would often take up to an hour after he would eat a meal before I could calm him down because he was in so much pain from all of the air that he was swallowing. And I told everyone, I'm like, I know all of his problems are from his eating. We saw the lactation consultant who worked out of Akron Children's Hospital, and within the first 5 minutes of my visit with her, she had identified that he had a posterior tongue tie, and that was the reason why he was not able to latch properly. She had recently gone to actually a conference where one of Dr. Milton's colleagues in dentistry had presented on posterior tongue ties and how to identify it. So she had recently been educated on it. She knew that it was something that not very many people were educated on, and she knew how difficult it was to identify. The first visit was such a huge relief because you're seeing your child in so much pain and nobody being able to tell you why. And to somebody say, this is why, you're probably seeing this, you're probably seeing this. And it's everything that you've been dealing with. And he's explaining it and explaining why. And the first thing he did was, he did the exam exactly how I had seen them do it on the internet for how you have to properly identify a posterior tongue tie. So right then and there, I knew he knew exactly what he was looking for. And it just made me feel so much more confident. He went in right away. He was able to quickly and gently identify it without causing my son too much discomfort. And he explained everything, he confirmed everything, and, he explained that everything honestly, he said that we're gonna have a long road ahead of us, that things aren't gonna be, easy all the time. We're gonna have challenges, and you can't appreciate that enough, to have the honesty there. The other really fantastic thing was that once he identified it, he was able to correct it same day in office. I didn't have to drive all the way back out here, which was, so that's huge, So once he identified it, he took him back. It took less than 5 minutes. When my son came back, he was in less discomfort than after he eats a meal, which was amazing to me because, he was in pain all the time, he was crying all the time, and for him to come back from having this procedure done, and he didn't seem to be any more uncomfortable than when he eats his meal. So, it was quick, it was easy, and it didn't seem to cause him a whole lot of discomfort. And the best thing of the entire situation was he latched and nursed for the first time. half an hour and he was a completely different baby, and within 24 hours all of his colic symptoms were gone. Oh, life is so much better. We have a happy baby, we have sleep, which is probably the most important, and you know, just we're able to move forward. He's learning. You can tell that, you know, instead of being so internal and in pain and frustrated and, you know, suffering, he's, you know, enjoying everything. He's looking around, he's taking his world in, and, you know, he's happy. He's not crying. Oh, bud.